Hey everybody, Aaron Blaise here, and I'm back with another video to talk to you about my new film, Snow Bear. It's a new 2D animated film, hand-drawn, that I've spent the last several years working on. And I thought it might be fun today to take you through my process on how we create an animated film. It starts with a good story, and every good story starts with an idea. And all of a sudden the Arctic popped into my head. The Arctic is, it's cold, and it's vast, and it's lonely. But what does populate the Arctic? Well, I started thinking about different animals, and one of the most iconic animals of the Arctic, obviously, is the polar bear. And polar bears, they live these lonely, solitary lives. And this is where no pun intended, my idea started to snowball, and it started to grow. And so I thought, what if we have this lonely polar bear living in the Arctic, and he wants to find a friend. So now his goal is starting to evolve. And what's that barrier to his goal? Well, he's a polar bear. Everyone's scared of him. And so as a result, he decides he's going to make himself a snow bear. He'll if you can't find a friend, then you can literally make a friend. And that's what he does. And so this little seed of an idea grew into this little story about a polar bear who's lonely, living in the Arctic, and decides to make a snow bear to keep him company. So once we get that seed, first thing we do is I start to research. And I found that Baffin Island, which is a big island in eastern Canada, between Canada and Greenland. I found this island that's so dramatic and vast and huge and beautiful and rugged. And I thought it really provided a great landscape to tell this story against. And I started to write. And this is just a short synopsis, but I really laid out, all the different beats. We got it streamlined, hit all of the kind of the arcs in the different acts 1, 2, and 3, and really laid out a story that we felt it at least was solid enough that we could start to create visuals from. So storyboarding. To me, the storyboarding process is probably one of the most important steps in creating an animated film. It is quite literally the first time that you see the written word as an image up on the screen. It was a process of about 3 to 4 months that it took me to storyboard the entire film. Once I've got everything storyboarded, once I've got a sequence that I like, then it's time to start creating backgrounds, and it's time to start creating animation. Now here, I've got a shot where I've got every step along the way, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to take you through this process that I do on how I created all of the shots in my film. So let's jump over here. Here are the storyboards right here. When you watch this, there's only 6 drawings in this entire series of storyboards. It's really just him sitting there. He looks over, puts his arm around him, looks back and looks back at the little bear again, and goes back again. But the other thing that it helps me with is timing. So once I lay this out in the timeline, all the different drawings from this series of sketches that I did for this shot, for the storyboards, it really helps me with the timing for the rough drawings, the rough animation that I'm going to do over the top of this. And then here is the rough animation of our polar bear. So you'll see here, I've got a series of about 15 drawings here. And what I'm doing is I'm filling out the movement a little bit. Here you can see him put his arm around him. And now, when I look at this, I go, okay, I like this timing. I like the way he's looking. Let's go ahead and tie him down and add the finished drawings. So that's the next stage. So let me turn off the rough drawings. And now let's play the tie down drawings by themselves. And now you can see this is much closer to the animation that we want to have in the end of the film. But obviously, what are we missing? Well, let's turn on that background. We're missing our background. It's got to go there. What's the biggest thing we're missing? We're missing color. We have to put our character in color. And so if I turn on the color model, That's what he ended up looking like, just like so. So there's his color model, and you can see that he's almost kind of orange. Even though a polar bear is white, in that glowing sunset, I wanted him to have more of an orange tint to his fur. And so that's what he ended up looking like. So now I've got the color model and I've got his look all set the way I like it. We're not all the way there yet though. Now we got to start thinking about what kind of effects do we want in here. Now, effects are a lot of times, the way we explain it, effects animation is everything that's not a character. There's shadows, blowing grass, blowing snow, all of these elements that need to be animated that aren't necessarily the character, but make just as much up part of the world as the characters do. And it really adds believability and authenticity to your animation. And so in this case, because I want it to be a sunset, I wanted to animate some shadows on here. And thinking about my light source being over to the right, shining its way across. If that's the case, then this side of his body is going to be in light. This side of his body over here is going to go into shadow. And it's also going to fit that form. And so what I did was I did a series of drawings with this violet, kind of dark, the opposite of the orange is kind of a blue-violet shape so that it would fit the form, just like so. And I animated that as the character moved. And so as we scrub over this, you'll see a series of shadows over the character, just like that. And so that adds dimensionality. It gives him a little bit more three-dimensional form. He's all cleaned up. The paw is all cleaned up, but I'm not happy yet with the look of the snow bear. And in this case, I decided I wanted the snow bear to be rendered like the background. I thought it would sit a little bit better. So I did just that. I created a new layer over this rough layer of the snow bear and did this. We created a well-lit from the same direction, the same lighting that our polar bear has, so it sits in the same world. And now he's sitting there with the snow bear the way that I want it, and we've got a finished shot. And I did this with every shot. Let's go ahead and see how this fits in the film. So there you have it. There's a sequence of him actually making the snow bear, and that's just one little piece of the entire film. And if you expand this out for the entire length of the film, this is how I made the film. There's about 116 shots in this film, and so there you saw the process for just one shot. Now multiply that out times 116, and we've got our film Snow Bear. Now, like I said, it really is imperative when you're making your own film to really build upon the last step. And don't take shortcuts. It really is, it is very helpful to actually take the time to sit down and write, to then go and storyboard, and then go and rough out your backgrounds. Figure things out every step of the way, because if you do, your end product will be that much stronger. So that was my process on making Snow Bear. I hope you get to see it. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.